Okay, people, I've been playing with boxes and tabs and slots, and I thought I would share a few tips. Now, in a previous video, I showed you, or one of the things I've used before is Boxes.py, and it does a really good job of creating a box. However, some of the things I want to do um, takes way more work on Boxes.py to create the box that I want and get a custom shape. So I've been working on this box. Here's a box. See, it's got all four sides. It's all there. It's all inside. Okay. So now this is a very simple box because it has just the two tabs and the slot across the front, and my logo's on the bottom. But you can see it actually works. Now, unfortunately, this box, it doesn't work with the project that I wanted. It's just a little too narrow, so the depth is narrow, and I had to remake it. But I'm going to show you some simple steps on how to create a box. So let's go over to Lightburn. Here's Lightburn. Now, I'm not going to create the actual box, but I'm going to just create some rectangles here, and I'll show you some very simple tricks. So there's one, and let's just make this a nice even number, so 270. Okay, so there's a box. Now, what I want to do is turn on output so you can actually see this box. What I want to do is I want to create another box that has the same height but a different width. So my height, see, is 70. So I'm going to create another box. And I'm going to make the height 70. And actually, I'm going to make the width 50 just for sake. And I'm going to line it up. Line it up to the top. There we go. Oops, I don't need that extra one in there. Now, this process to create the box that I showed you, this little box here, took quite a while. And if you're interested in playing with this, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I typically use 3mm basswood. So what I need is some boxes that are 3mm, and by 15 should be fine. So let's go 3. Okay. Now, basically what you want to do is you want to line this up horizontally. So I want to line a horizontal center, and I want to line it to the edge. So I want to go to the right edge. There we go. Now, if that's a slot, that's fine, right? So that's a slot. I need a tab on the opposite end. So I'm going to duplicate this tab, or the slot, pardon me, and I'm going to put it on the left edge. And now, since this is going to be a tab, you could manually move it over, but what I found the easiest, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, since these two boxes are lined up, this should work just fine. So I'm going to select this little box that I created, go to my array tool. Now I want to make sure my X and Y spacings are 0. If they're not, make sure they're 0. And since I want to go to the left of this, I'm going to reverse direction and add a box and go OK. Now that's fine. Now I'm going to take this other box and I'm going to put it on the right edge. Line to the right. Now once again, I want to make it a tab. So I need to take this box, go to my array tool. I don't want it to be reverse direction. Make sure it's still set at 0. I'm going to select 2 rows. And there. Now, I have this leftover box right here that I used. And since everything's still lined up, I haven't moved anything, I'm going to take this box And I'm going to put it over here on the left. Okay, it's pretty simple enough, right? Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to take this box and the outer box, and I need to remove that piece. Now, there's a couple of tricks I can do if I tried to do a weld. Oh, look at that. Weld works just fine. Now, Boolean tools, if I go back, let's go back here. If I use the Boolean tools, I'll go to my Boolean tool, Boolean assistant. Union, intersection doesn't work. Subtract will work. Okay. The other subtract doesn't work. So either way that works. So I'm leave that subtract there. Now I want to slide over to the other end of my design. And I'm just going to use the weld tool, and it works just fine. Okay, so that works for that. What about this box? Well, these are actually really simple. Then I can select them, I can weld it, and I can weld this again. And they fit. Okay, now what about slots? Now, since I need two of these, I'm just going to move this over a little bit. I can take this, I can just duplicate it because those are my edges. So I have another edge here. And once again, I want to line it up to the top. Make sure everything's lined up properly. That's a side. Now, what about a bottom? Well, the bottom is actually pretty simple. Now, you have to remember when I take, zoom in here a little bit, when I take this piece and line it up on this side, it's actually, let's go back to here, let's go back to my other picture, you can see a little bit better. You can actually see that it overlaps. So I can see that it overlaps here. There, this way. So there's the side, right? There's the side, there's the end piece, and you can see there's a little overlap. So when you're doing your dimensions, you have to make sure that the inner dimension here, right, since I'm using 3 millimeters, is actually 3 millimeters shorter, or 6 millimeters shorter than what I need. Okay, let's go back over to Lightburn here, figure this out. Okay, this is what messed me up the first time. So, like I said, when I take this piece and I fold it in here, then I lose this 3 millimeter piece. Now, there's a couple options. Now, I noticed that I made this 200. Okay. Now, if I made this, I wanted 200 inner dimensions, I have to change this dimension here for this wall by 6 millimeters. So let's go and undo those two things that I wanted. I'll leave that there. Go back over here. Okay. So if I want exactly 200 in the middle, I have to go and change this box to be 206. Okay. Now, that's only because that wall, right, gets shortened by 3 millimeters. And all I have to do is just move these pieces over to the right and weld those in place. Move this piece over here to the left. Select both pieces and weld it again. Now my inner dimensions from the inside of my slot to the inside of my slot is 200 millimeters. So that's the tricky part, right? Okay. I think I can do this all one weld here. Yes. Okay, so far so good. And that's one thing that I struggled with when I made this box. The inside dimensions we're 6 millimeters too short. Okay, so I actually fixed that on my, when I went and redid the design. I have to go in and cut that out. Now, what about the slot? So this is a pretty long piece. I'm going to need 2 slots. So I'm going to take a slot here. I can make this 3 millimeters in height, and I'm going to double it. I go 30 millimeters in width. And I'm going to place it on the bottom. Now, depending on how many slots you need, let's say I need 3 slots. So I'll take this and I'm going to use my array tool, and I have to space this out a little bit. So let's go 40. Let's see if I can do this. 2, 3. Oh, perfect. Okay. Now I want to group the results because I need to make sure that they're centered properly. Oops. Keep doing that when I have this selected here. So I want to make sure that's vertically centered. It is. Now I don't want my slots on the bottom. I want to have a slot like this slot right here. I need to move it up. Well, how do I do that? Well, I take my 3 slots and go to my array tool again. And I want to make sure that I'm going to reset this to 0, so I'm going to need that later. Now it depends. If I just go up 1, that actually works pretty good, right? And once I've done that, I don't need to group those results, but I can take this first one and delete it. I have my slots. Okay, so there's a wall. There's my black wall. Again, I can just duplicate this and bring it over here and line it up. Top. I'm just going to move all this over inside my workspace here. Now, I need 2 of these. So I have two ends. I have 1 wall. I can duplicate it. What about the bottom? Well, here's another thing. I need a slot on the bottom here that lines up with this one. Okay, so let's do that slot again. So make my box. Height is 3. Oh, that's perfect. And it was 30. Okay, so what I do is I take this and I line it up vertically on here. And put this on the bottom. And I need to line it up. And I can do the array tool, but since this is all lined up, I can just simply select that and go horizontal center, and it lines it up. And I didn't put a slot on the other one, so I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do a vertical center. And it just happens to line up just the way I want it. Okay. So I'm going to group all this, group that. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to put it up here for now. There's my other wall. Now you're asking, what about the bottom? Well, the bottom basically has these 3 tabs, right? And we know this one is 206, but the bottom needs to be 200 by the width of this one, right? So I take my ruler, and it's 50. So I need 200 by 50. Okay, so let's do another box. I don't care what that is. Oh, that's pretty close. Oh, no, pretty close. So I know my width 200, and my height is 50. And I need to center it on here. Need to center this. Move this up a little bit. Okay, so now what I need to do is you take my slots, I got to turn them into tabs. Let's just move this down a little bit so it's a little easier to see. So let's ungroup this for now. Come on. Let's ungroup for now. You take this, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to put it on the top. And it's going to do my array tool again. Select it. I want to go up. No, I want to go up. I want to go up one. There we go. Move this over so I can see it and go, okay. Now take the one that I started with and I move it to the bottom. And now I take my array tool again, and this time I want to go down. Oops. Cancel. I just want this part here. There we go. I select the bottom. I want to go reverse. I want to go down. Okay. I can delete that row. Okay, so far so good. Now I need to get a tab on this side, or a tab on this side and a tab on this side. So the easiest thing I found, make sure this is grouped, I'm going to rotate this counterclockwise. And now, because this has the tabs on it, what I should do is I should have left the tabs off. So let me see if I can take this. So this box sits at Y position 146. Okay, so I need, and this sits, okay, this one sits at 173. If I take this and I change it to 173, let's see. Oh, that's from the center. Sorry, I don't need to do that. I got to go from bottom position here. 171.5. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, so when you get to this point, you realize, wait a minute, I should not have done these tabs. Should not have welded the tabs. So we know what these tabs are. They're 3 by 15. So here's what you can do. You take another rectangle, 15, and you line it up centered on here. And you put it on the top. And then you duplicate this one and you put it on the bottom. So here's where you use your Boolean tools, and you want to get rid of that. Use a subtract there. Okay. Same with here. Select them all. Tools, Boolean Assistant. subtract, go okay. Now you can take this and you can align it center. Let's put those two tabs back. That's not a big deal, right? In fact, why don't we do that now? Because we know this is not going to move. So let's do my two tabs. Height 3, oh, almost there. 15, tab, put it back. Horizontal, vertical center first. Align top. Do my array tool. I want to go up one. Okay. Take this one and go to the bottom. Take that. I want to go down this time. Okay. And get rid of that little box right there. Oops. Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to ungroup all this. So I need this rectangle here, and I need to duplicate it, and I need to put it on the left edge, and this has to be a tab, not a slot. So I need to use my array tool, go reverse direction, make sure that's still set at 0, go 2, okay, and you need to slide over a little bit. Okay, and I take the original one, I want to move it over to the right, and take that, turn off reverse, go 1, 2, okay, and I can get rid of this. So now I can take all of this, can weld it together. Take this one and this one and weld it together. And bottom tab there, weld it together. And here, and group that. And there you have a very simple box. So I hope that helps you if you want to try and make your own boxes with custom tabs and slots. This is the process that I use, and I find it sometimes a little tedious, but once you start using the alignment tools and the array tool, you find that this actually works out pretty good. And there's one last step. Now, since these are slots, okay, so let's ungroup all this. That's already ungrouped. Typically what I do, my cut layer is, I have set on 14, so I'm cutting through milling basswood. My slots, I use layer 13, and I have that cut out first. Line 13 has a curve, a negative curve, so it's inside. And you can change this, -1, -1.5 is really tight, but you can actually change it and it goes really quite tight. This one I also put on 13. That's on 13. I can ungroup this, and that's on 13 as well. And now I can group all my stuff together. Oops. Got to back off here. I need that on 14. Got to ungroup. That's on 14. This is on 14. That's on 14. And that's on 14. Now I can group it all together. And I can put my box together. Group. 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 And group. So now I haven't built this yet, but this is just showing you how I made a box that is similar to this. Now, if you want the little ovals in here, ovals in here on the side, that's just an easy little trick, and I can actually, let's do that. Let's create a box, and let's give it width of 80 and a height of 20. Okay, and if you want to get this, then all you have to do is go to the shape properties and get it as rounded as you want. Okay. And if you want, you can take this, duplicate, put it on the center, and this one on the center. There's something you can add to it. You can make multiple slots, you know, multiple little gaps in there. So I hope that you found this useful. I know it's a bit long and it's a bit tedious, but one thing, if you have thicker material, say it's 4mm or 6mm, or even smaller, 2mm, make sure that you adjust your tabs and slots accordingly so they all fit. And lining everything up, lining all your boxes up when you start is a key, right? So once you create the basic dimensions, and once again, don't forget that inner dimension, depending on how you connect it all together, just like I did here. Okay, gotta show you here. There we go. So on here, the end sits inside of the back, right? And the bottom fits in there as well. So take care. I hope that you try this out on your own and see. Obviously, the one that I created is too small. It's supposed to fit another creation I made, which is this pallet coaster, but it doesn't fit inside. Right? It just doesn't fit. You can see there. So, made my 2 boxes, made them too small, but live and learn. Okay, take care. If you like this, send me a comment. If you find an error in how I did this, please let me know, and I will do another video. So, take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.